Good morning, Jason.
Hey, how are you?
You're there. Good. We didn't have an audio problem. I've been having
Oh,
some I've been having some audio issues lately with LinkedIn connections and we've had to restart, but I'm glad we don't have to do that.
yeah. Good, good. Well, I just get a picture of you here.
Oh,
No video. Oh, there you go.
sorry. That was my whoop. Just there we go. There's my
Hey,
placeholder.
yeah.
Okay.
I was like, man, I need to see this guy live. What's going on here?
Well, just staying busy. Tell me about you. It's good to connect, by the way. Melissa's quite a delightful and insightful individual. So I had a nice
Yeah,
conversation with her, and you came up in the conversation, and here we are.
yeah. It sounds
So
like you guys just recently met, though, right? Through LinkedIn. Is that how?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So, yeah, Melissa's been with me for I don't know 6 months or something like that, and so I'll rewind. So I'm a general contractor, real estate developer, and investor here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And for the past, well, since 2016, and even a few years before that, I haven't been interested in having any customers, right? And so all the projects I've done are, um, sorry, got distracted for one second. I turn my phone away from this now. Okay. all my, I haven't wanted customers because all the projects we've done, we've been owner builder, owner developer. There's been no reason to market myself. There's been no reason for advertising. But now that the economy is changing, money's harder to get, deals are harder to find, and I'm scaling quite a bit because so I'll even wind a little bit more. We started out flipping homes, okay, and we would do like 30 homes a year. We did that for several years. Then we started doing small multifamily projects mixed in with the homes, and then we
Uh-huh.
don't do homes anymore. Now we just do multifamily, and it's evolved into new construction. It's evolved into large scale projects. Like we're working on a project right now that's like 250 units, 7 stories, 2 levels of parking. $50 million projects, and so
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, I'm hiring high level estimators, project managers, superintendents, and so I'm investing a ton in gearing up for these large projects. It used to be that I managed all this stuff myself, right? Because it was just
Yeah.
whole, little remodel or flips and apartment remodels. But with all the new processes in place, I'm scaling up big time, investing a ton of money in it. But in order to take on all this overhead, I'm also now doing third party work, right? So we need to advertise, we need a little bit of marketing to bring on new investors and new projects and all that kind of stuff. So this is where Melissa's been working on putting a website together and a LinkedIn profile and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, just to tell the story of who we are. Because I never told a story before, right? I never needed
Most
a story.
most well, I'll correct you there. Everyone needs a story.
Yeah,
And so many people in my experience don't tell their stories and don't realize the value of the stories that they have to tell.
yeah,
Sometimes we think that our stories are not that significant for other people to hear, that
right.
it's something personal for us, but the contrary is true to that.
Yeah, and so, and that said, I agree with you. I'm like, the more I'm meeting with different people, and and just a little more on me is I didn't go to college. I don't have like a degree. I've just grinded and worked and clawed my way to where I'm at this point. We've got 25 employees. I've always felt I've had a really bad case of imposter syndrome, for years and years when I meet with architects and engineers and stuff like that. And I've gotten over that for the most part, but I still
Jason, let me tell you something. And imposter syndrome is something that everyone that I have dealt with and continue to deal with has to some degree. And no matter how aware you are of it, which is very beneficial to be aware of it because it helps you overcome it, but you never totally overcome it. There are points in life where you'll encounter it from time to time, and you have to do a self check and say, wait a minute. I am, this is who I am. This is what I can do. And you're not defined by that limitation.
Yeah, I need to get some confidence in that regard, and I think my story will help with that because if I can tell people who I am intelligently, because I have done a lot of cool stuff and I do belong, and but so I mean that's the gist of it right there. I'm just getting to the point where I need, Melissa put together a website. I don't love it. We need better photography. We need better things, and I don't know exactly what. I guess that's pretty much my story in a nutshell. If you want to, go
Well,
ahead.
if you don't mind, I'd like just for the purpose of this call, can I treat you like I would a fee paid client?
Okay.
Would you mind? I'll
Oh yeah, no, I'm
interrupt and
open. Yeah.
okay, good. That always creates a nice dialogue. And
Yeah, I'm completely transparent and I got thick skin too, so go for
oh, I'm I'm not going to get the needles out right now.
it. Okay.
Give me a little sketch about your. We talked about story. Tell me about your history. How long have you been doing this? And you said you got started flipping houses.
Yeah,
Where-
so it's even further back, like so out of high school, even in high school, I was hanging drywall. I mean, you want this kind of detail?
uh-huh.
So high school, I'm hanging
By,
drywall.
by the way, by the way, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have some background in the construction business, in the home building and the real estate development.
Oh,
My
okay.
father and I developed a couple of subdivisions. I live in Lafayette, Louisiana. We've built houses. I built houses, and I even took that knowledge of the industry. I worked for over 10 years with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and developed a nationwide program called the St. Jude Dream Home Giveaway, where a new home is built. You buy $100 ticket and you can win the new home. And the homes are valued upwards of $500,000, $600,000. And I traveled around and the year I left the program, we had given away 38 homes in 16 states. And I was critically involved with the real estate developers and the builders and the suppliers and whatnot in making sure that these things got together. So I know my way around the shop. So we can be on the same page in some thinking. When you're not talking Greek to me.
Okay, that's good to know. I love that. That's great. So yeah, I started out talking about my high school. Is that where you want me to start? Kind of give me. Okay.
Yeah, just kind of give me a little story of your life journey here.
Yeah, so it wasn't the best. It was pretty rough to be honest with you, but I had some time out of high school doing drywall, landscaping, carpentry, those types of things, even building carports. And then I became a machinist, where I was working with CNC machines and doing stuff like that. And I
Right.
did that for several years, and then I moved to Alaska, where I didn't even know what I was going to do. I showed up to a seafood plant. My friend was a crab fisherman. I then got a job. They were doing a big expansion on the plant, so I worked as a carpenter there for several years, and then came home on several rough runs with different things in my life, and then I went back to school for a minute. Decided I need to get my shit together. Tried to go back to school, decided it wasn't for me. Got a general contractor's license, got a real estate license. Decided I like construction the most. And I thought the American dream was flip a house, right? So I figured out how to get my friend and his dad to help me flip a couple of houses. And then I just started networking, and I met this one guy, Tim Watke, who's a pretty big deal here in Salt Lake City. I did one flip for him. Next thing I know, I'm doing all of his work, and I'm just clawing my way into partnering on some projects with him. And now we're in 10 states and
Oh,
done
wow.
hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate. I'm a limited partner on most of the stuff. I do own a few homes and different things and some apartments and stuff. But anyway, that's kind of my journey. And now I'm trying to scale my company. I have no business being the CEO, but I'm like, making it up as I go. It seems to be coming together at this point, but getting the right people on the team. But
Yeah, and
that's
and
the
as you
summary.
know, there are a lot of stumbling blocks in becoming a CEO in
Oh
business,
yeah,
right? You
yeah.
can wake up in a new world every day. Uh,
Yeah.
Currently, Jason, uh, how big is your company? From a revenue standpoint, and where do you want to be over the next 5 years, let's say?
So last year we did about 5 million, just the construction, my J Corp part of it. That doesn't count like real estate purchase or any of those types of things. But so we did $5 million worth of construction last year. This year our goal is 10 million. But over the next 5 years we'd like to get to 50 million, and I think that's going to be pretty easily achievable once some of these big projects I'm gearing up for.
All right, now you're looking right now at doubling your business from last year, this
Yes.
year,
Yep.
and over the next 5 years, you want to grow that to 50.
Yes.
And what is the niche that you are serving? You
So
you mentioned you mentioned multifamily. Uh,
that's
is that
commercial. Yeah, commercial, retail, commercial space, and mostly multifamily. Most everything has a mixed use component to it now. So at the
mhm.
ground level, you're going to have parking and retail, and then up above, you're going to have apartments. So that's our main focus.
Tell me about the focus of your commercial business. What do you envision, or
So
what have
right
you
now,
done along those lines?
so we do a lot of tenant improvement. Like right now, I mean, this year we've done 2 restaurants, like build outs. We'll do. Right now, we got a job we're going to look at that's more like a medical lab build out. Like 6,000 square feet. So things like that along those lines.
And you're a GC, so you sub all of that work out.
Yeah, for the most part, we'll sub out the majority of it now. Now, also another component is I still buy. Like right now, I have a 12-unit apartment building that I own 40% of, and we did a full renovation on that, and that's so we'll sub out like the MEP stuff, but I self perform with my employees like the demo, the drywall, the paint, or a lot of the paint. I mean, a lot of that. Depending on how big the scope is, we self perform a lot of that work. Finish carpentry, all those general trades.
So you mentioned you have like 25 employees.
Correct.
That's total. So you do have some laborers. It's not all office personnel.
Yeah, we have drywallers, painters, carpenters, along those lines, and then project managers, payroll, all that stuff.
Jason, what would you say your three biggest strengths in your business, in your company right now lie?
Well, I don't even know how to answer that honestly. So what we're good at is we're really good at commercial remodels. Is that a strength? Like, or you're looking for like we're good at analyzing deals, and uh, I need to narrow this shit down.
Hmm.
I need help. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, do you do you think that what you are envisioning is a broader landscape more than it is a niche?
Yeah, it is because our niche is like I don't know how to answer. I mean, like we're really good with working in investors. That's what separates us maybe than other general contractors. We're more geared toward because I'm an investor and most of the work we do is for investors, and so we have more an investor mindset than just like a customer. It's more of a partnership than like a customer client relationship.
Right. Right. But you're wearing two hats, right?
Yeah.
Because you're wanting to expand J Corp,
Yeah.
and that's that's kind of the guts and the mechanics of what you do. And then you've got the investor hat. So
Yeah.
those are two. Do you find that challenging trying to balance those two?
It is, especially in managing the books and stuff, because that's been like my biggest growing pain is we've implemented Procore. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a project management software,
Yeah.
and all the layers that go in that, and if you want to be, if you want to run the project properly, there's all these checks and balances when it comes from change orders and RFIs, and even all the whole pre-construction process, getting the project set up right. and then, an investor wants to be treated a certain way, but you really need to set it up as if they're a customer, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
bill them and all that kind of stuff. So we've got to standardize things when it comes to over. I mean, there's a lot of complexity going on right now.
Tell
It's
me about
getting under
tell me
control.
about your internal support network in your office. To it What I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that most of the responsibility you're carrying on your shoulders.
I have been for years, and so over the past like 6 or 8 months, is when we started implementing Procore, and we decided we need to really gear up for these big projects are coming. And so I've done a lot of growing pains. Melissa's been through some of them with me for this past 8 months, and I've had but right now, currently in place, I have a guy named Christopher Uribe, that I hired. He worked for another large general contractor firm. He's worked for several of them, and he was as an estimator. So I brought him on, and he's now kind of overseeing almost all the construction operations portion of it. So from estimating to the PMing. And then we've hired another person that's just barely starting this month, that worked for some other big GC firms, that was a project manager. And we've hired an accountant that's worked for a large GC firm. So I'm kind of like, you can see the pattern here. I'm hiring people that have worked in this industry that I haven't. So we've got Chris, we've got a PM, we've got an accounts manager, and then I've got 2 superintendents. And then I've got a business development guy named Joe, that's kind of like, going out there massaging all this work and helping us find new work. And we're still trying to define what his tactics will be, you know what I mean? Like our sales pitch. And then Melissa's kind of been more on the technology side.
Mm-hmm.
That's a summary of
How,
the office.
what contacts do you have to establish to grow your business at the scale you want to grow it?
So we don't need a ton of contacts, because so I went the one guy I mentioned, Tim, who's essentially a partner. He's like my best friend. I've known him for quite a while now. We do a lot of work with him, and he's got a lot of projects in the works, but they might be 2 and 3 and 5 years out, right? And a lot of these projects last a year or more that we get. So I've got Tim, I've got Matt Strong, who's a hard money investor guy here that we're building like 20 townhomes for. We've got this group called the Colmena Group that we're partnering with on this 200 something unit project. And then we just probably need a couple other people or a couple other projects. So we don't need a lot, you know what I mean? We need like 5 or 6 people that we really work with. But you've got to, because we're so new, like for instance, the Colmena Group, they're a very well established group here in Salt Lake that's, does billions of dollars worth of real estate, and
Uh-huh.
we're trying to get in there with them. And so I need somebody to massage the relationship with them, make sure, because, there's a lot going on. We have a contact there, one of the vice presidents there. He's trying to get us in with them because of his relationship with Tim, and they've seen the work that I've done, and they want more of a strategic partnership with their general contractor, which I'm trying to provide for them. But yeah, I'm still young, my company, as far as like my team goes. And so we kind of have to prove to them that we're worthy of this opportunity, right?
Right. Currently, your financial resources, the banking, the investments, and you have that covered right now. It sounds like you have good working relationships with investors.
Yeah, we definitely have a good stream of money. We could always use more. And I even like them. I think J Corp alone, I would like to, I need a line of credit, I feel like, for just like the float. Like, I'd love to have a couple $100,000 for payroll or whatever, who knows, because sometimes these deals take a little while to materialize, or the invoicing cycle, I feel like I do need a little bit of money just for the operations of J Corp. But yeah, we have a good network of like money and different things. Yes, different revenue streams.
And how long have you had the relationship with these investors that you work with?
So like I said, Tim, he's the main one, and I've known him for 10 years. Matt Strong, the other one we're doing townhomes for, and he's lent me hard money for like this other apartment buildings and different projects we've done. I've known him for about the same window of time. And then those are the two main sources I have right now.
Well,
So
help me understand the process of, okay, you have these investors on board. There's X number of dollars available for a project, correct?
yeah,
It's just like if you went to the bank. Say,
right.
here's the project. We're going to take draws on it as we complete different stages, right? Is that how it operates, to where you'll do phase one, phase two, phase three, get it framed, get it blacked in, get it, all of that, and then get a draw on that?
And there's a draw cycle, a draw schedule that we've got to set up, and every job's a little bit different depending on where we're getting the money from. Because sometimes we do have construction loans through banks for sure, and different types of financing. So like if I reference that 12-unit apartment building we're about to finish right now, the way that deal worked out was, we're purchasing it, so Matt Strong financed the purchase price, 90% of it at 12%. So we've got to also factor all this hard money costs into our budgets. But so and then I raised another $1 million from another guy and from my own money for the construction, right?
Okay.
But there was no really draws or anything like that. I just
Okay. So that's self-funded.
Yep, those you would call self-fund, hard money self-funded.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
On that level, right? That's one. But then like when we're doing this 200-unit apartment building, that'll be probably through a bank, right?
Yeah, because you're coming out of the ground with that one.
Yeah, that one's coming out of the ground, and we're gonna have to have draw schedules, and we'll do the AIA invoicing format, and it'll be based on. And I'm sure the bank will send out someone to review the project and determine what percentage of what we've done. All for the draw system, right? Just a standard draw.
Sure. Let me ask you, what is not working for you right now?
I don't want to say things aren't working at the moment. There's been a lot of growing pains that we're going through, and I do feel like there would be a lot of things I would say aren't working a few months ago, but at this moment, we're just at a point of like really pulling it all together. Like, because I feel like I've got all the pieces I need as far as Chris is in place, Procore, we got that accountant starting, we got the PM going. So all those things I feel like are all going to come together over the next couple months. What's not working is me telling my story to investors and my marketing.
Okay. All right. Telling your story to the investors, I don't want to say creating the elevator pitch, because it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
That's important. Your outreach is important.
Yeah.
Internally, you're comfortable with your staffing and the way things are set up.
Yeah, I really am at this point. I worked really hard over the past 6-8 months trying to build this team. It still needs to be proven, right? Well, we feel confident in the process to this point. And I mean, it's just been a huge learning curve for me because I've never done this before. I've never even worked for a general contractor before.
Sure.
Never even worked in this environment. I've been making it up for 15 years.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with it?
Yeah, today I am. Yeah, you asked me this a couple months ago. I was involved, 6 months ago. But putting Chris in place, I've got some good pieces. I've got Chris. I mean, we could spend hours talking about how this past 6 months has unfolded. But at the moment, I feel pretty confident in the team that I've put together. But it still needs to be proven.
Yeah. Well, and that's an ongoing situation with every business.
Yeah.
Nothing is in place and stays there forever. I mean, even Disney reinvents itself, all right, over and over and over again. And it's to be able to make it's to be able to adapt to those situations and to take a look down the road and anticipate what might pop up. How will you address it? What happens if you're not successful in addressing it? What happens if you are successful? Uh, you know, you mentioned early in our call that you have you've set a goal for this year at $10 million.
Mhm.
Have you charted that out to see how that's going to happen? And is that number a reality?
It is already a reality. I mean, we haven't got all the contracts signed, but that work's already at our in our queue. I don't know the right terminology, right? But we already have the work, and even potentially even more, and it's only February. So I
Uh-huh.
don't think we're gonna have any issue getting to 10 million, at least on the books. Um, but yeah, and 10 million based on our overhead is just, it's still really low. Because whether I do 5 million or 20 million, my overhead's the same. And so to get my overhead to 3%, we really need like $20 million worth of work. But,
What would what would prevent you from getting to $20 million?
ourselves, well, not having the marketing, and I talked about Joe, who we put in business development. I've already started like putting him on some leads. I think it would be easy to get there once we, one, even just like 6, 8 months ago when I started telling people like that I'm going to be for hire. Because I've had people for years ask me if I'm for hire, and I just say no. I don't know. Deal with customers, I don't deal with any of that. As soon as that became a reality that we were going to do it, I mean, like tons of people have been knocking on the door, right? But now we're
Yeah.
like honing in the process to take on the new work. It's like, okay, yeah, we're for hire, but what does that mean? Like, how are we estimating? How are we managing these projects? What does the whole process look like? So we've had to, the past 6, 8 months, we've just been building a process so that we can even take on the new work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and identifying the specific type of work, because even still right now I'm doing like house remodels and doing different things just because I've got to pay the bills, right? But those aren't our ideal revenue streams. But at the moment, we got to just make money. We're still in that growth phase where we just got to bring in money.
Let me ask you this. What if you hit that 10 million or $12 million mark at the end of the year, what does that translate into bottom line for J Corp?
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what it means. But we've done well, and we're everything's working.
I mean, if yeah, I know, but if you were looking at your balance sheet at the end of the year
Mhm.
and you did the 10 million, what are you seeing for J-Core there?
Do you mean like profitability or
Yeah,
for?
profitability and from that profitability, the opportunity to expand even more.
Absolutely. Those are two things. So, like, for sure, if we get there, all my overhead's covered, which is like a huge relief for me because even in my overhead is my salary that I'm going to give myself. So, all our bills are paid, all the employees are covered. Um, we've got a ton of processes in place because we got to this point, right? So that now we're in a really good position to go after that 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 million. We've got
Uh-huh.
for me, I'll feel really confident that the foundation is there. You know what I mean? Like we've arrived at the next level. Because I'm going through a major level up, right?
Mm-hmm. And you're looking at certainly at that as being profitable
Yeah,
for you.
absolutely. We should, it's probably 5% profitability on that.
Uh-huh.
And that's
Okay.
not a huge, and that's the other thing where 5%, depending on how we look at our overhead and different things, just the pure 5% profit is probably what we'll realize. And that's where we want to get to these 20 and $50 million so that 5% is a little more exciting.
Sure. Sure. Um, Other than your marketing, if there was one thing you had to fix today, what would it be?
It's really hard to answer just because this past 6 months has been extremely overwhelming. Hiring these right people and I don't know, I wouldn't know how to answer that right at this moment because it's like I said, we just barely, I mean, I'm talking within weeks. I just barely gotten to a point where I feel comfortable with our foundational goal, if that makes
Sure.
sense. I mean, we're
So,
just
so
barely,
you've been drinking from a fire hose for some
oh,
time, right?
hell yeah, that's a great way to, I mean, I've been processing so much information and on a dramatic learning curve, just like this for the past 6 months that, man, I haven't
Yeah.
been able to like, yeah, it's been fire hose action for sure. It's been extremely overwhelming.
Do you keep a personal journal for yourself?
Yeah, I haven't really done that.
You know, this is the free advice that I'm going to give you right now. I would recommend that you get a dedicated journal
Okay,
and every day make an entry. It might be a few sentences, it might be a few pages, but make entries as to how you feel about where you are. What do you feel got you to where you are? How can you amplify it if it was good? How can you diminish or eliminate it if it was bad?
okay,
And I think if you do that and review it at the end of every week, just kind of review it. It will provide you with more of an anchor in dealing with a lot of these issues that come out and being able to compartmentalize
yeah,
because you'll start to see some things that pop up frequently
yeah,
like little whack-a-moles.
uh-huh.
and,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and you can say, oh, you know what, maybe I really have to just buckle down and address this because I put
Right.
it off. You know,
Yeah,
we have priorities, that things that we have to do. And a lot of time, and they're big projects, big important things that we have to address, and we have to address in a timely fashion. What happens is there's little things that pop up that we allow to amplify and overshadow those really important things.
right.
Uh, it's almost like, well, you know, man, my office is cluttered up. I really need to organize my bookshelf. Well, all
Yeah,
of a sudden, that becomes more important than the conversation I have to have with Jason.
yeah,
Okay, because you know my conversation with Jason is a struggle, or with this person is a struggle. So I'm going to find something that's going to outweigh that for the
oh yeah,
moment
yeah.
and focus on that. And and sometimes that imposter syndrome will kick in and direct that.
It's funny, I only got 30 minutes. We've already gone over our time, but
It's fine. If you want to go more, I'm open.
okay. Yeah, me too. I got probably a few more minutes. I got a lunch thing at noon. But so Chris, I met with him this morning, and we're going to implement is a shared Google document or Google sheet of all of our tasks. Because instead of like just all this information swimming around in our heads and things coming up and like you just said, we're gonna start sharing a document so I can feel confident all these things are being, done because we'll have a conversation. And then I don't know, things pop in my mind and I'm like, oh, what about this? What about this? And it just needs to be written down, like you say. It's almost like a journal, right? If
Yeah.
things are written down, you have more confidence in what you're working towards.
I call those drunk monkeys. They're
Yeah,
little drunk monkeys that run around on the inside of your head and they're hard to shake.
yeah,
Um, you know, based upon our conversation, I think there's a lot that I can help you with along those lines. One thing that I spoke with Melissa about is, and one of the areas that I do a significant amount of work when I start working with a company is to guide them through the process of creating an effective mission statement, vision statement, and core values. And that involves getting everybody on the team to participate in that process because whatever comes out of that everyone attaches to it. They take ownership of it because they've participated. And when I talk about mission statements, my first question to any company is, if your company, if in this case, if J Corp went away, if it just evaporated tomorrow, what does the marketplace lose?
Right.
What does it lose? You know, and it takes a lot of digging to get to that answer, because initially, well, it loses a general contractor in the business. Well, yeah, but some other general contractor will come and do what you're doing. So
Right.
what is the uniqueness? What's the DNA about your company that we explore? Then once we get through that process, you come up with a value proposition, which is the promise you make to the public. Here's
Right.
who we are and here's what we promise to deliver. And once you've established that, then is when you create your strategic plan moving forward.
Yeah.
And that what that does, Jason, it gives your vendors and your suppliers a clear understanding of who you are, why you exist, and what you have to demand from them as far as quality in product, delivery time, follow up, relationship development with those vendors. Because, you know, those subcontractors and vendors and suppliers are very, very important and critical to your work, because they can throw your schedule off in a second.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in a second. One, you know, one delay on delivering roofing materials, well, you know, that sets everything back. All the interior work has to go on hold for that.
Right.
And and that's the critical thing, because when they understand what you're promising to deliver and they align themselves with that. I use the expression, the illustration of Fleming's Steakhouse. You familiar with Fleming's?
Everything, yeah. I think, yeah.
Okay, top drawer steakhouse, only the finest prime beef. When you go in, you know that you're going to sit at a white tablecloth table with nice linens and silverware, and you're going to get the best quality steak. Well, Fleming's has to have their vendors understand what they're promising to me when I sit at that table, because if I'm supplying meat to Fleming's, I have to make sure that it is of the quality that they are promising to their their diners. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing in any business, Jason.
Right. I
You
agree.
have to understand. And then when all of your staff, all of your people, your subcontractors, when they understand what promise you're making and who you are and what JCOR stands for and its representation in those communities where you do business,
Yeah.
then everybody takes on ownership. They take on the pride of it.
Yeah.
And and I think, you know, that's always in a situation, especially when you're looking at scaling your business up, you're getting ready to move from a moderately small operation
Yeah.
to a big operation. And that's almost like establishing two, well, it's not almost, you're going to be establishing that's two completely different companies,
Oh yeah.
two two different dynamics. And and when I work with my clients, what I want to do is to ensure that their bottom line continues to grow through the process, through the behavioral components, through people understanding how to communicate with one another within the organization, to be effectively, to be held accountable, to be transparent in everything. And when you talk about your marketing and your reputation and your story, that's what that all feeds into that, Jason.
So you just telling that, describing that helps me tell you that that is my number one need right now. Because now I feel like I got to a place where I got my operations under control. At least I have the right people in place to take that on. So now I'm more in a better position at this moment to take a step back and work on my company rather than in my company. Because for the past 6 months I've been drowning working on in the company, right? And
And
now I really am. So it's kind of weird how the universe works, and this is meant to be or whatever, you know. But you coming in at this time, because this is actually what I've been telling myself, is I got to decide who I am, what am I selling, all these things that you just described, you're right. That's actually like at the forefront of my mind right now.
Yeah, and everyone has to understand that.
Yeah,
It's not just for you to hold that in
yeah,
noggin and okay, this is mine. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's ongoing.
yeah. And I do need someone to help me with that. That I would say that's my number one need. What you're
Wait,
describing
hold
is
on one
what I need.
second. Okay, I'm sorry. Your sound went out just for a few seconds.
No, I was just saying that what you're describing really is one of the foremost needs that I need right now.
Yeah. Um, well, what I would like to do is I'm going to review the recording of our conversation.
Okay.
I'd like to put together a proposal based upon what you've shared with me.
Okay.
Um, my engagements with my clients are usually 6 months, 6 to 12 months,
Okay.
sometimes longer,
Okay.
depending on what the need is. And uh, let me review it because what I want to present to you is something that's going to be you're going to be able to quantify the results
Okay.
of that that's going to help your bottom line.
Okay.
Is if I create a proposal, is there anyone else that I need to talk with about it, or are you the decision maker?
Yeah, you just, yeah, there's no, I mean, we can talk to my team, but I make all the decisions.
No, I'm saying as far as the economic buyer, so to speak.
Oh yeah, no, I'm 100% sole owner and make all the financial decisions. So
Okay. Have you ever worked with an executive development coach before, a business
no,
development coach? Okay.
I have right now that I've been working with for we're coming up on the 6 month mark. I bet maybe 4 or 5 months. But I have a Zen based personal coach that I meet with once a week, and
Oh, good.
so but she's more like working with me to just like stay calm through the weather the
Sure.
storm type of stuff, right?
Sure.
Where I definitely am interested in somebody helping me do what you've described. So
Yeah, I think, we're gonna get into if we engage, we'll get into the guts and the mechanics of what you do, and uh, I'll almost be a subcontractor for you in a way to put it in construction terms.
uh, it's been so hard. Just one another thought is just I'm actually going to leave, but getting to over these past 6 months with this fire hose action was like I didn't even know CEO, CFO, all those C-suite stuff. I didn't even know like how the project manager. I didn't know anything, and I've had to like just oh my gosh, it's been. But I feel pretty good at the moment. Oh my god, it's been hard. So,
Well, one of the things we want to eliminate everything landing on your desk
yeah,
because that'll drive you crazy. And that will restrain any growth potential that your company has. Being able to let go, being able to delegate is a critical component.
yeah,
But again, at the very outset, if we have an engagement, it's gonna involve creating that mission statement, vision statement, and I mean that in itself is a full day retreat operation. The,
yeah.
the way the way we structure it, but what comes out of that is unbelievable. It's
I
unbelievable. It will give so much clarity to you and your team members moving forward. And we'll work on developing that story. We'll work on developing sales scripts, sales techniques. I can help you with that. Anything related to communication, sales, service culture development, and service culture development comes out of that mission statement. That's that's the soul of you. We talk about customer service and service culture. Customer service is the face of your business. It's how you interact and how your people interact with suppliers and customers.
uh,
But service culture is the soul of the business. It's
yeah.
really the compass that drives everything. And that's my focus of what I do. And and what I'll do is I'll put a proposal together. If I have any questions, I'll reach out to you.
Okay.
Um, I'll have something, I can put a proposal together and we can meet next week. What
Okay.
I will do is we'll do a Zoom call. I'll share the screen. We'll go over it, talk about it,
Okay.
and then I can send you a hard copy.
Okay. I'm actually pretty excited about this. So hopefully it all makes sense. Hopefully we do it. So
Okay.
okay.
And, and then, you know, I'll have a cost there for you. So you'll see what you're committing to.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have any do you have any questions of me?
No, I think this was really productive. I mean, I think you're what you're describing is definitely something I need. So okay.
Okay.
All
Well,
right. Well,
sounds
we'll
good.
talk soon.
It's very nice. You know, I didn't ask you. Tell me about your family.
Oh yeah, that's actually a great. My story is pretty wild. There's some details in it that are pretty nuts. My journey's pretty spectacular. But I'm currently married. I've been married for. I don't know why I said currently married. I am married. Been married for 6 years. I don't plan on not being married.
I
I've
understand.
only been married one time. Got married when I was 43. I'm almost 50 now. 49 this year. But
Wow, you look younger than that.
yeah, thank you. I work hard at it.
Yeah.
I have two kids that I adopted that were my wife's kids. I've been raising them for maybe 12 years now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 12, probably going on 13 years, 14 years. And they have my last name. One is at the University of Oklahoma right now, business major. And my son is trying to graduate from high school. He's an extreme sports kid, backflips on bikes and crazy
Oh,
things.
wow.
He's an out bike coach. And but that's what I got going. Yeah. So
You've got a full plate.
I got some crazy shit going on. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Okay. Well, let me get working on this. We'll set up a Zoom call for next week to go over it, and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Great to meet you. Thank you so much.
Okay, same here. In the meantime, if you have any afterthought, you have my email address, fred@fredreggie.com. Shoot me a question. You know, if you have an afterthought and say, you know, what I didn't tell you is this, let's make sure we address this as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Thanks so much.
Okay, take
All
care.
right, bye-bye.